Let's talk about constants. Up until now, you have learned about variables, which you declare with the let keyword. If you want to declare a constant, you use the const keyword. Now, what is a constant? The idea here is that once you assign a value to a constant, you can't reassign it. This protects the variable from ever having a different value. So you see here, we have a constant called mission name. We've assigned it a value. And here we're trying to reassign the name with the name of a different mission. So let's run the code and see what happens. Okay, we see that we get a type error. It says that the assignment is to a constant variable. So it's not going to allow us to do that. That's what the const keyword does for us. Let's also talk about the convention of naming constants. You'll notice here that instead of using camel case like we do for regular variables, this is called screaming snake case. And I know that sounds a little silly. It's just a fun way to say all capitals with underscores. So why would you do that? Why would you give it a completely different naming convention? As you can imagine, in a very large code base, other people might be working with the code and they might come across a variable that they don't know is actually a constant. By using the screaming snake case convention, we're making it clear that this is something that cannot be overwritten with a new value. So it's very helpful to be able to just see that in the code and immediately know that it's not a regular variable, it's a constant. Let's create some new examples. A common math constant is pi. Everybody knows about pi. We have 3.14159. And notice I've used screaming snake case, so we have all caps there. Let's do another one. A common constant is the gravitational constant of Earth. I'm just going to call it gravity Earth. And it's 9.81 meters per second squared. Another common time you'll see people use constants is when they have certain configuration settings that they only want to have to set in one place, and then it can be used as many times as it's needed throughout the code base. So we can do a couple of these. Let's talk about max passengers. We could set that to 5. We also could have a default language. And I could use a code like EN-US. That's a common one. Now you have some good examples of times when we might want to use constants. Let's do one last example where you have to think about whether you would use a variable or a constant. Let's say you need to define your birth year and also your current age. Which one would be which? The one that never changes is your birth year, right? So let's do that one. Birth year. Well, let's just say you were born in 1995. That's never going to change. But if we have something like your current age, that could possibly change. So we're going to use a regular variable with the let keyword. And that's all there is to it. I'm going to make a git commit here. Always make a git commit anytime you've added a little bit of code and you're at a good stopping point there. And of course, the last thing is to show you that there is a practice file. You can come in here and practice creating constants. It'll help you think about all the times that you might want to do that in the future. That's all I've got for you. I'll see you next time.